Alright. I'm gonna read the North Shield. It's a really good one. Hope you guys like it. Alright. North Shield. The North Shield, the sacred place of the elders. In gratitude, I sing your praise. Sacred buffalo, white as driven snow, hold my heart until the end of my days. This is called the North Shield, obviously. As I was entering the silence one winter's eve, many years ago, I was taken into a dream time and whisked away to an ancient forest filled with newborn snow. The barren trunks of the birch and aspens were stark against the emerald green of the peace trees, the pines. Giant flakes of crystalline snow were falling around me. As I came to the edge of the forest, below me was a vast meadow, deeply drifted in blue-white powder, where no one blade of grass could peek above the blanket of snow. Far across the meadow, in front of another stand of trees, was a sacred spirit buffalo asking me to come nearer. I walked down the hill into the meadow with the fringe from my buckskin dress leaving soft impressions in Mother Earth's new cloak of white. It's obviously a girl talking. Maybe. The only sound was the gentle crunch of my moccasins against the tiny ice creatures that made the threads of snow roll. As I approached, I noticed that steam was rising like pipe smoke from Buffalo's nostrils, and her giant brown eyes held me as we joined minds. This sacred buffalo of the dream time had me sit cross-legged in the snow in her feet, and feel the warmth of her breath so that I would not be cold. In a flash of lightning, her hooves turned white and raised my eyes to see all the colors drain upward out of her body. Her eyes turned the color of summer sky, a cornflower blue. Her horns became silvery white, and she spoke my name. Midnight song. Follow my horns skyward to the council of elders for the teaching of the North Shield, she commanded. There you will be given 3 trails that lead to wisdom, and you will know the lessons of the sacred white buffalo. I turned my eyes skyward, and the scene suddenly changed. I was sitting in the south of a great council of fire. This circle of elders numbered over 200. In the center of the wheel was a blazing fire that lit the faces of the ancient ones, so that I could see the expressions in their sparkling jet black eyes. One of the grandfathers in the north of the wheel told me to walk to the fire and stand in the center of it. I obeyed and was not burned. Then that grandfather spoke to me. All 3 roads to the North Shield are walked many times, and each path is tempered by the fire of experience, he said. Come to my seat in the circle and receive the 3 symbols of the path to the north. I stepped out of the fire and walked to the seat of the wise old man. There were 3 elders waiting for me. The first grandmother handed me a great conch shell. She smiled and then spoke. This shell is the power of listening to Mother Earth, her creature beings, and her children. Through listening, you may come to know wisdom. The second elder, a grandfather, placed a tomahawk at my arms and said, this tomahawk represents the peacemaker, who knows when to bury the hatchet and forgive, and when to defend with truth. It is through proper use of truth, forgiveness, and humility that ye may also know wisdom. The third elder was great white buffalo calf woman. She presented me with a pipe. Her voice was grave, but her eyes were twinkling as she spoke these words. The pipe is a symbol of balanced shields, male and female, red road and blue road, and of being grateful for the beauty of great mysteries' perfect plan. The third path is gratitude and prayers of thankfulness. Through this path you may also know wisdom. I thanked the elders and returned to stand in the fire as the blue-orange flames spun me in a vortex of silver smoke that propelled me into the sky far above the elders' council fire. I was suddenly aware of being in a totally different setting. I was sitting in the south of an enormous table made of a slab of pewter-colored stone. The council that sat at this table numbered over 400. The shock of seeing their faces nearly sent me crashing back into my body on the physical plane. There were the races that came from the stars. Some appeared to be Earth-like, but most of the others races that I had never imagined possible before. I understood for the first time how the Kachinas must have looked to the Hopis who greeted them. The Sky Brothers and Sisters were the odd assortment of races who had enveloped me with warm feelings of goodwill and caring. Despite the love being emitted, I was still aghast at their appearances. Some appeared to be over 7 feet tall, with golden hair and very blue eyes, and were very much like earthlings. Others were 3 to 4 feet high, with enormous eyes that were all jet black, with light bulb-shaped heads and web-like feet. Some of the others had copper-colored skin with tall human bodies, and oriental eyes that were sky blue. Still others reminded me of hammerhead shark faces with flat-top heads and eyes at the outer edge of the flat top. Altogether, there must have been over 75 species. It took me a while to adjust to being looked at, and I was trying not to ogle back. A being with blue-gray skin, bald head, and pointed ears was sitting in the north of this gigantic round table. He rose and spoke to me, giving me information about what I was to accomplish during this earth walk. He told me things about my personal record in times of past, and why I was to release the records that held the understandings of the Red Race. I looked around the table and smiled to each being, seeing past their outward appearance, until I understood the inner beauty of this variety of races. The sacred path of universal wisdom also has to do with the ability to accept the unusual or bizarre with grace and understanding. I was stunned to see a few faces that were part of Earth's history. It was an astonishing vision, and I was endowed during this time with a profound understanding of what it is to be a universal being rather than limited identity. I found that the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and that all races of our universe are ready to assist us. I committed to the wisdom I had been given to memory, and bid the Spirit Council goodbye as I was engulfed in a whirling smoke of silver energy that returned me to my body. The revelation of the teaching of the North Shield is that north is the top of our medicine wheel, and beyond this is the south, the beginning of the new medicine wheel. That is the place of the ancestors. Beyond the north of that wheel is the